Cool. Well, I'm glad you're all here. And I know some of you, I've worked with some of you before. So I don't know what the level of cataloging experience and expertise is. So I'm going to start off a little bit simple. This might be a refresher for most of you, or hopefully if there's something new, it will be helpful. So let me start. So I'm just going to jump right in. Go. Yes, there we go. So I'm going to talk about the proposal process. I'm going to show you some resources for making proposals. And I'm going to very, very briefly say, join a SECO funnel. So I think, how many of you are in funnels already? Use the little raise hand thing.
Does LC count?
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're not an official funnel, but.
That's true.
Okay, Jasmine. And Jasmine, which funnel are you in?
So I'm actually the funnel coordinator for the Judaica SECO funnel, which it's called Judaica, but it's Israel Judaica related.
I see. So people might want to get in touch with you if they want to join the funnel that you coordinate.
Absolutely.
Cool, great. And there are a number of other funnels if you have other areas that you specialize in or that you work with. That might be an advantage to the community and also for yourself. So we can take a look at those. And then finally, I was hoping we could spend most of the time going over examples or questions you have about proposals, either, if there's some steps that you're not sure of, or if you want to know more about, maybe you had a proposal in the past that wasn't approved and you want to maybe go through some of the steps that might help you the next time. So we'll look at those. So first of all, the proposal process. Monthly, let's see. Oh, cool. Oh, okay, cool. Jasmine shared something with us that we can look at maybe as well. This looks great. So the monthly list, the tentative lists are prepared and they become publicly available mid-month, the month before the month of the list. I know that's weird. So I put an example, for instance, the December list for 2023 was issued in November 2023. So basically, we encourage, wait, please, I might be getting ahead of myself. Okay. We encourage you to make.
Amy, do you want to share your screen?
No.
Your slides.
I thought I was. Okay. There you go. Okay, monthly list. Here's a visual. This is what it looks like. I'm going to give you a link to, do I have it? Yes, I'm going to give you a link to the page for tentative links. And I don't know if this is already on your page, Jasmine. Yeah, Roger?
I wanted to say that to the EBNECO community, I reviewed the tentative list and I send them to anybody who is subscriber to EBNECO, and I will mute myself.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Roger. Yeah, that's a really good idea. One thing about that's really helpful is sometimes subject headings are canceled because there's a name authority already for them. So you can't have both, basically. I'm in like 99% of all cases, you have to have one or the other. And if you want, we can look at the subject heading manual instruction sheet that gives the so-called division of the world between name authorities and subject headings. All right, so you get the tentative list either through Ajay or through someone else. I'm going to talk about how to get notified of that for them. All right, so here's what they look like. The next step in the process. PTCP has internal reviews. We meet usually once a week, sometimes twice, depending. And so what we do is the so-called list owner, the person who's assigned to kind of manage the process from start to finish, brings their questions to other policy specialists, and we ask things like, do you think this makes sense, or is there enough warrant here, et cetera, et cetera. We just try to evaluate things together. And some people are stronger at other things than other people. So for instance, my colleague Nancy Cooey sort of is, and Veronica Ranieri work on geographic subject headings, like that's sort of their expertise. So sometimes when I'm a little baffled, I would want to bring it to their attention. So, and I'm talking about the December 23 list because that's mine. We started anonymizing the lists a little bit to sort of manage some of the email traffic we used to get, and to like not get blamed for things, as it were. So anyway, but FYI, I'm the 2312 list owner, and if you are on the SACO listserv or the PCC listserv, you probably saw that yesterday the summary of decisions for the November list was issued. So that list is all wrapped up, and I'm next in line to finish my list. So you can give input. If we ask for it during the period of when we issue the list and before the editorial meeting. So if any concerns are brought to our attention, we like to possibly discuss them at the editorial meeting, or we make a note of it. In our reviews, we have a spreadsheet where we have all of the proposals, and each of us, has our name, like Amy, Veronica, etc. And so we also have a column for list comments. So anything that comes in through list comments or even to individuals, we put those comments there so that we evaluate everything that comes in. So we do take those seriously. We have editorial meetings once a month, and I'm going to put in the chat the calendar for the meetings, if I can find the chat. So you can look at that and see if you're able to make go to one of the editorial meetings. We hold them mid-month. Mine took place December 15th. And those are, they can be really interesting. Sometimes the list owner will select a few proposals to talk about that are either, maybe controversial or maybe like just really difficult to sort of get make a decision. So we want the community to help us make that decision. So we have some discussions about that. And we also bring topics that people ask us about. So if you sign up for an editorial meeting, I think it's the Tuesday before the meeting, the Tuesday before the Friday, an agenda will be sent out. And then with every agenda, we also ask for additional questions. So when you see the email that the editorial meeting is coming up and you remember, oh, right, I want to make sure that this gets discussed, then, you're invited to do that. Okay, so now you have the link to the scheduled editorial meetings. Okay, next. Okay. After the editorial meeting, we, once again go back to the list, evaluate. We recently set a cap at 200 proposals per list. We were getting lots. I think Dory Kurtz, if you've met Dory, I think she had the largest list last year. It was 400. And so if you wonder why we don't get our lists out within a month or 2 months, that's why. But we have limited each list to about 200 proposals. 200 to 250 is our max. So it does take a while to, make sure that everything is evaluated. And, we want to give as much attention and care to people's proposals as possible. So once we're done, a summary of decisions is issued via the listservs and also through an RSS feed that we have. So let me give you well, here's what an approved list looks like. Oh, wait, actually, well, here's what an approved list looks like. It looks exactly like the tentative list. And here is, oops, sorry, I'm having issues with my mouse. Okay, here is how to sign up for the RSS feed. And I have screenshots. So when you get to the feed, you'll go to subscribe to an email newsletter, and you go to resources for specific audiences, and then you pick yourself, your librarians. So the PCC listservs are open to any member of PCC. We do make exceptions. So for instance, if you happen to be in a funnel, but your institution is not a PCC institution, you can still, sign up for the SACO funnel or the NACO funnel. So I don't think we distribute the summary of decisions through the NACO listserv, but we do it through the SACO listserv and the CONSER listserv. So, yeah. And if you're an LC, you usually get the summary of decisions internally too. Okay, there was one part. Oh, let me go to the summary of decisions. I actually didn't include that in my slide, but I think it's helpful. So what is summaries of decisions? So we give our summary of decisions based on what we don't approve, what we would like to see resubmitted. Now, if your proposal gets approved, that means that there's no reason to say anything, it's approved. But we'd like to give justification for why things happened, like why we might not think it's approval. We don't want to include it in the vocabulary, or we might want to say, look, you need more work on these things. So let's look at the most recent one, which was just submitted yesterday, like I said. Okay, so here they are. And you see that we give a little statistic on how many were approved, 78%. We go through the LC classification, and I haven't really said much about the classification proposals, but those are also part of this overall process. So you can propose classification numbers along with your subject proposal, or just classification numbers, So for instance, somebody proposed BX 342.9.C68. I think BX is some religion area, I think. So they proposed a class number for the pandemic. Now, you'll see that this says it was withdrawn and retained because we need to put an end date on the pandemic. It's officially over, but I don't know. That's what they say. So we need to revise it to make it accurate. We try to use government information, etc., medical information. So that's why this proposal wasn't accepted. So this is a minor thing. It's not accepted because it's wrong or it's inappropriate. It's just a matter of we have to update the overall proposals, so we're going to do it all at once. And so on. So we can go back to summary of decisions later if you want. Okay. So I think in my last slide, actually, did I say it? Oh, so I meant to say that part of the review process is that sometimes a list owner will contact the cataloger. I've done this before where I feel like a proposal might be borderline I might not approve it. But I think maybe if they just had one more citation, or maybe if they, expanded on the WorkCat a little bit, that would make more sense, and then it would be approved. So I like to, no, I didn't stop sharing. You can see my screen, right? Okay. I like to err on the side of, I really want to approve these because I think it's important. And also, given the amount of time that passes between when you make a proposal and when it gets approved or not approved, I'm really conscious of the fact that probably have your resources, books piling up on a catalog. You want to get them out. So, I get that. So I prefer to contact proposers and get everything settled. So yeah. Okay, we went through the RSS bead, PCC discussion list. Now I want to just really quickly look at some of the resources, and this is my favorite one because it's a new one that was just created in the last year. We've been thinking a lot about how using the subject heading manual can be really intimidating. I think I made a list. It's something like, I don't know. I did a list where it was like I counted how many instruction sheets there were, and there were a lot. It's an enormous resource to navigate. As over time, I've come to really appreciate how much information is there, how much guidance is there. But I think if you're just starting off or you just want to get your proposal done, it can be pretty intimidating. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to get this. So here's a link to the document I have a screenshot of. So I cut off part of it in my screenshot, but it goes through and gives, we can just look at it. Okay. There's also one for topics. Where did it go? There's one for topics. There's one for sites, for headings for Indigenous people. I thought I saw one for geography, but I might have been wrong. And there's also a PDF. So if you want to download it and like print it out, keep it on your desk or, whatever. But there's also this web version. And so what I like about this is it kind of just gives the bare bones. You must, you need a 1XX. You need a 670, kind of really basic, but just perfect points. The other part about this sheet is that it gives reference to the subject heading manual that talks specifically about this, field. So if you are thinking you want to make a related term, oh, I have to run. Okay, bye, Daniel. Thanks for coming. Maybe you're not clear on what to do with related terms. So, it takes you to the subject heading manual on what related terms are. Now we're at the end of my lecture. So, questions?
I didn't see any questions yet, but I wonder if we could do a run through. Let's say we take a subject heading. We make up one. Okay, here's one. I know it's going to happen very soon because there's a book already been published. It's something, let's say October 7, 2023. So it's a dated subject heading. What
Right.
would be the process? I don't have, let's say we make up a book. Let's say that the title is the title of the date itself. What would be the process now? Because it's so new in terms of resources out there. Can you walk us through a kind of like a kind of like a fake, I don't know, subject heading proposal?
It
Well,
doesn't have to
yeah.
be fake because actually that one was proposed.
Oh, that was proposed. Okay, I wasn't aware.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
I
no,
apologize.
that's okay. Maybe Jasmine and I can kind of talk about this. So so with our like uh topic,
I'm trying to see, do you know if it was assigned to a particular list yet?
I don't think it's been assigned to a list, but I want to do, hold on. All right.
So there were a number of proposals that were submitted. This was done collaboratively between the Judaica Seco funnel and a cataloger at Duke, I think it was.
I don't remember.
Me neither. I remember her name because I worked with her, but I don't remember where she is. Anyway, so the Seco, our funnel submitted the proposals related to the October 7th Hamas attack, 2023, which is the proposed heading, and Denise submitted the batches of headings related to the Israel-Hamas war, 2023 open dash for now.
Right.
Hopefully that will be closed soon. So and a number of related headings and call number additions were proposed in addition. So they haven't been publicized yet. Published. I'm looking forward to seeing those on the list, and I was of course going to share with all of you on NACO.
Yeah, and that's actually reminds me that whenever those get scheduled, you know, if you ever schedule a proposal, you might want to tell your community about it and say, you know, at the next editorial meeting, let's see if we can discuss this. So yeah, so I don't want Jasmine to give away the ending.
There isn't one
So-
yet, so
Yeah, right. But I want to kind of go through this like so first of all, the first thing is to just check if something's there already. Because sometimes people send us proposals for almost the exact same thing that's already there. So let's just try October. Well, I'm not going to pretend to do this because I know it's not there, but you know, it's good to check. I mean, topics are really a lot easier to check than like an event. But in any event, you know, you want to check this. Now, the other thing that's important is that, first of all, for a proposal, you need a work being cataloged. It doesn't need to be a printed book. It can be an electronic resource. It can be something digitized, a digitized photograph, for instance. We've been getting a lot of those recently. But mostly, I think most of us work with resources that are printed books. So you have your work cat, and that's the basis of your proposal. You're demonstrating the need for this proposal. And I should also say, in addition to searching for your exact term, if it already exists, you might also want to think about, can I catalog this and assign subject headings without having to create a brand new subject? Like maybe you're thinking narrowly, but actually if you combine something like I don't know. Well, I guess if we had something for Hamas, it would be in the name authority file. So let's say you wanted to have something like you wanted to have an access point for Hamas, that would be like a 610, I guess, that you would add to your record. And then maybe you could do, let's see what we have for. Okay, so you have terrorism, terrorist attacks. Oh, terrorist attacks use terrorism. So, you know, I would think that if I didn't want to propose something, I would use something like terrorism and maybe Hamas and maybe, you know, Israel and the particular location, etc. So it's possible. Oh, thank you. Jasmine put the proposals there. We can look at those after we go through this. So anyway, so it is possible to not propose something, but it's always nice to add to the vocabulary. And I think especially, you know, the vocabulary is lacking in a lot of topics related to Judaism and to Israeli history, etc., or Jewish history. So it is important to think carefully about adding to the vocabulary, because I think it is In our case, I think it's a benefit to the community to add those. Okay, so we checked and tried to see if anything works for our topic, and we didn't find anything, but we have our work cat. So we're gonna go to, okay, I'm going to my backend version, but you're gonna have like a proposal and you're gonna propose a new heading. When you click on this, it's gonna be a topic, maybe. Okay, it's gonna be topic, although it could possibly be geographic. Whatever, let's see. I think since it's a an event, it'll be topical. Now going back to the checklist, oops, that's not it. Where was my checklist? Do I have anything about events? Okay, so this is where the SHM can be helpful. How many of you have raise of hands? I don't know if I could see hands, but Haim, can you tell me who raises their hands? How many of you have access to ClassWeb Plus?
I am muted.
Oh, I thought you.
Sorry. Okay, my mistake. We have 2 people for sure, 3. Sorry.
3, okay. So
And then Roger and myself, of course.
yeah. So this is ClassWeb Plus, and really quickly, you can search the manuals. So here's the subject heading manual. And I'm going to type in event. So there's a subject heading, and I'm sorry, there's an instruction sheet for events. This is the one I would refer to as I'm establishing my heading. Yeah, Elle, did you have a question, or is your hand raised from the poll on if you have access to ClassWeb? No, okay. Okay, so sometimes these have backgrounds. I usually ignore it. But sometimes it does say, oh, here we go. For instructions on establishing names of individual battles, see this instruction sheet. For disasters, riots, demonstrations, and hurricanes, see this one. For instructions on strikes and lockouts, use that one. For instructions on trials, try that one. So what is, this is just for general events. I kind of think this would be a disaster or a riot or demonstration, maybe, but I'm going to do a find to see. Aha. Oh yeah, I forgot. This one has this whole case study business. So we're kind of in luck. So in any event, it's giving us, I think we're in a good place for this particular, we can use this as a model or a guide for how we're going to set up our subject heading. So what do they do? So they're saying this is what it's called in the work. And these are other ways to call this event. So we know that the October 7th attack might have a date. Some people might call it October 7th, right? Or Hamas attack. There was Operation Al-Aqsa flood. Is that one of them? I think. So one way to deal with this, okay. So because it's a new event, there's probably not going to be reference sources as added justification and research for our proposal. So we like to have the, let's just say October 7th. I don't even know if that's right. So first of all, what we want to do is make sure that our work cat actually uses this phrase or basically explains this phrase. So the book might, let's say, be called Hamas Attack. Oh, and actually it's going to be, let's say, okay, that's how you would do your subfield A. You give a citation, and then you might say, like page 21, oops, page 21, the Hamas attack took place on 7th, 2023. Okay. W is if you have your LCCN or your OCLC number. So you would have like that, but that's not required. I think the proposal guide will tell you that. Now, I would say most of the time we like to see at least one extra source to justify your proposal. There are times when it's not necessary, but it's very, very rare that a proposal just has the word cat and nothing else. So in the case of this, because it's a new event, the best places to look would be probably, you know, newspapers, other types of long form journalism, etc. So that would require, you know, maybe a web search, or maybe in your collection you get the latest news, you know, from Israel. Haaretz is one that was used for this heading proposal. So we can look at the proposal and see all of the different sources that were used to justify the heading in addition to the word cat. One thing that is also required for proposals, for subject proposals, is that you need a broader term. So it has to fall within a hierarchy, basically. So if we went back to, I think okay. Oh, I was looking at that one earlier. Oops. Where was my thing? Let me do this again. Okay. So this is just general maritime terrorism. Let's see if we can find any examples. Oh, well, here we go with this is the same one that was on our sheet. So this is also a good way to try to find out a good pattern to use when you're establishing your heading. So instead of like thinking, how would we describe it? First of all, you have your word cat. Second of all, you have your research. And the next thing is maybe looking for a pattern that exists in LCSH already. Okay, so basically right here, what we're looking at is the event, and we're also seeing that there's a broader term. So there has to be a broader term, as I've said. So you'll always want to include that in your proposal. And where's our name? Okay, so we would add our second 670, etc. And then you can put your email. That way you'll know when it gets scheduled to a list, and you'll know if it's accepted or approved. You'll get a notification at the end of the process. If there's a pattern, so like, for instance, we could say that we're using, you know, we're saying, look, that this is an established pattern. We're doing things the way it seems like you're doing them. If you know that there's going to be bibliographic file maintenance, so if you were perhaps proposing a term to be changed, you might say, oh, well, there's probably 200 new records that need to be changed because I've changed this heading. So you would want to say that. Hopefully it's not a lot. We do BFM in our own catalog, which affects the records in OCLC, but anything that the Library of Congress, any resource that the Library of Congress does not have, that doesn't get changed in OCLC. But I think OCLC has like an algorithm to update headings. So that happens in OCLC, but there might be a lag time between the changes in our catalog and the, and when a proposal is changed, change proposal. I want to pause and just back up for anyone who doesn't have access to ClassWeb. First of all, the subject heading manual, here it is free, and it's not as easily searchable as ClassWeb is. However, it does have this sort of table of contents breakdown, and that can be helpful. So if we look for like events, so you would be able to find this that way. And then there was one more thing. There is a PDF form for, let's see if it's here. I know it's not here, but I know we have a PDF form. If you don't have access to ClassWeb to make a proposal in the system, you can fill out a PDF with the same information that you would put in ClassWeb. Okay, I'm gonna stop for questions. Do we have any? Okay, let's look at the proposal that was actually made. Okay, here we go.
That's great, because actually I have a question on one of them.
Okay. Okay, so there are a lot of UFs. I didn't talk about UFs, but if there's another way of calling something, we encourage a used for reference. And again, those need to be supported by your citations. So this has been set up as October 7 Hamas attack, 2023. Let's look at the actual proposal. Okay, we've got all of these different ways of calling it.
All of which are supported by lots of.
Yeah, this is a really, really long one. And it's good to have as much evidence as you can. However, one thing that does happen sometimes with proposals, I don't think this one does, but catalogers will put multiple references to dictionaries, like Oxford, Webster's, Wikipedia definition. And basically you just need one really solid definition. You don't have to compile, a thesaurus, or, a dictionary. So, just be careful of that. So you don't have to really go overboard and worry about, did I get every version of this as much as possible? Just go with what you have. Someday, if there's other information, somebody can submit a change proposal.
Amy, can I ask a question on this proposal? There are two things I would just want to ask. One, we have to have a separate proposal for the class.
You don't.
I said, no. So that's thing. Okay, that's once it's included in this, we don't have to do a separate proposal for the class itself. Right?
Well, okay.
We did add a class.
Yeah.
Right, but that was added here, but you don't have to do another proposal for the class.
I did propose, yes, it was
Okay.
proposed.
Yeah, sorry, Haim. I thought your question was, do you have to have a class number in your proposal? You do not.
No, this is this is included as the 053, but you have to actually go through the process of submitting a separate proposal.
Correct.
Yeah, you do. So
okay.
This class number is here, but if you do propose a new class number to accompany your subject heading, you have to do it in the proposal system.
So it's two proposals you need to submit for this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in okay. So you see there's a proposal. This is kind of what your version looks like. There's a proposal for classification, and that's where you would make that. You'd have to do them separately.
Right.
And you might want, when you're submitting your proposal to policy at loc.gov, I think, or is there, There, oh,
So
there's,
we added the 952 note to indicate that proposals for the call number and other subdivisions were submitted simultaneously. So
right, right. Yeah, that's very helpful. There have been cases where we didn't catch the companions and we have to decide, should we postpone it or should we add it to our list, whatever. So yeah, it's really helpful to do that. But you don't have to do it.
Mhm.
Oh, we were looking at. So Jasmine, what was your question?
So actually it's for the proposal for hostages families.
For which?
Hostages families.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
separate proposal. There's a 979 that says October. I think that's French, maybe. I'm not really sure. But what is that?
Oh, right. So that means, what is it on a list? Oh, wow, we're already in June. Okay. That means that it's going to file underneath the associated heading.
Got
So
it.
the main, I guess the heading for October 7th is going to include a sub list of anything related to that.
I see.
So
Okay, that
that's
makes
how
sense.
we make it file. So
Oh,
if we go back to the let's see, some of them do this. Sorry, look away if this makes you dizzy. Oh, here's an example. So somebody's proposed about HANA performance art, but they needed to also propose a broader term.
Mhm.
So this got filed underneath.
Okay.
Yeah, since this is already, what is this from? From January, it probably doesn't have that note anymore, I don't think, or I would show you. But yeah, that just means that it files under its group.
Okay. What is the E at the end? Is that just like an internal note?
Yeah, maybe there's another one. I mean, like maybe there's another one associated with October 7th and
Well, there's the war.
oh, and there's the war, yeah. So, oh, what is
That's Israel-Hamas war. Yep, there it is.
let's see what it gets. Uh-huh, Berg.
Oh, okay, that's how it is. Okay, so then it's alphabetical order, all appearing together. I guess like A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Now, when you've made a proposal, one, let me go back to this. You can like look for your heading. As long as your heading that you proposed is not scheduled to a list, you can go back and edit it as much as you want. But once it's scheduled, it gets locked in and you can't do anything to it. However, if you want to email policy@loc.gov, or if you happen to know who the list owner is, you can email them and say, look, I really want to add this 670 or whatever. Let's see, browser proposal. Let's see.
Do we know who owns the upcoming list? Is
No,
that knowledge?
we don't.
Okay.
But I have 12. 2312.
Okay.
If you had a proposal on 2312, you could still ask me about it.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like the public version, and only the person who proposed this is able to like go in and edit it. But you could see it too, so you can see what's floating around and out there for proposal. I don't know. It's not very often that catalogers email and ask about someone else's proposal, but sometimes it is helpful, again, when you're trying to figure out, should I establish this or not? If it's sitting around in the proposal area, then you'll know that it's there. Sometimes we put catalogers in touch with each other if they have a similar proposal, and we say, can you work together and make one proposal? So
Right, that's how we ended up working together. Denise, who's at UNC, North Carolina. I was close with Duke, but yeah. So right, that's exactly how we ended up working together. Someone at LC emailed us and said, yeah.
Yeah.
together. So
Could I ask a quick
That's great.
question?
Yeah.
please.
As someone who has never done this before, um, can either of you guys, I guess, talk about like how much work is this? If you're collaborating with someone, like what does this take? Like you're showing us a form to fill out, but like I know it takes a lot of research and like coordinating with someone else or filling it out. Like you don't need to tell me like a certain number of hours, but like I don't know,
Well,
some sort of concept of how much effort this takes to do a
I
good
think Roger,
proposal.
Roger might have.
has
oh, Roger,
Yeah.
did you want to say something? Did you want to
I
comment?
want, I would like to say to Tally, this is not easy, but this is a lot of fun for cataloger, meaning that you really have to make time to prepare it, and you need time alone and not be disturbed. What I do and what I have done is I have a template of the proposal that I worked on bits by bits. So I don't go to the form directly, but I have a template which contains all the elements that I need. And I check that. And once I'm ready, I bring it there. Now at LC, I have known that other people who ask me for consultation don't do that. But I found it from the very beginning, and I've been here 20 years, that it's helpful to have that. So you create yourself a template and you work from that and you prepare everything, including the $ rather than the whatever sign is. And then you do it in one quick way. I found that best. To lie to you and tell you that it's easy, no. But put it this way, this is what you contribute to the entire community in a way which is very different. I know that Jasmine is very proud of what she's doing now. And I know that I'm very proud of having brought up the topic of Israel and Palestinian and Israeli Jews and Palestinian Arab and all these issues that I work with Jasmine and TPCP when it was called PSD, and with people who really appreciate what you're doing. What the new generation at PTCP does is that when a project is very big, they come and help you. Like Melanie Poluta was consulting with all of us to propose what Jasmine ultimately proposed. So you are not alone. When I started, I was alone. And there are some proposals which were very simple for me. I remember a copycat where 2 words of the Hebrew language were not authorized, so I had to propose them. And I would say in the previous PTCP iteration, it took me almost a year to get it through because nobody was holding my hand the way Amy and Nancy and other people are doing it now, and Melanie are doing it now. So you are not alone. It's a lot of work, but it is really ultimately what you should be, what you can be proud of. And I will mute myself and disappear. I never appeared, so.
Yeah, I'd just like to second Roger's comment about the current PTCP group. It's considering them only like 100 feet away. That's been extremely helpful to working with Amy and Dorian and the rest. It's especially where you have questions and you're not sure. And, going back to the drawing board sometimes. But the explanation that you get kind of almost like a tutorial of what to do. And Roger's right, you don't work alone. You do work collaboratively, not necessarily have to be an actual group, but you do work collaboratively. And it's very much appreciated. And rules change sometimes too, or just like situations change. And you just, even as for a person who's done it quite a bit, it's appreciated the work. Let me just add one more thing. As a person who reviews LCGFT proposals, I see what's going on the other side. And it does take time for a reviewer to go through the proposals as well. As in addition to what the proposer has done, the reviewer does take the time to review the proposal. So it's not just I see what's going on and I let it go. But no, it's a step-by-step process, and sometimes it does take time, and knowing that whatever the work you put in, you're actually helping build the vocabulary, which is very much appreciated.
And I'll just chime in with my experience. So this, the Hamas attack and war is actually the second project that I've been lucky to work with collaboratively, with the IJ section and Roger and with PTCP. And I'll just echo a third time how collaborative and how open PTCP is, as we see here, that Amy's taking the time out of her day to speak with us. They really are very forthcoming. Yes, applause indeed. Agreed. And yeah, and if you have like the newbie type questions, of course, feel free to start within the Judaica Seco, and we can start together. I've been working with Marlene on some subject headings, but if it does grow into something that's a bigger project, that's when we would try to corral, loop in PTCP to make sure that we're all on the same page.
And it gets easier as you go along.
Sure.
We have about 3 minutes left on this session. We can go a little bit overtime, which is okay. If anybody has questions, or just want to say a few words now, we can. We could end here and just, but no, this discussion not necessarily over. It's just a nice beginning for us to know what the process is as well. Before
I'll just
sign. Oh, go ahead, Jasmine.
Sorry, I was just going to say thank you for the links to the tentative and the approved list, Amy. I did add those links to the wiki, so if you have that wiki page loaded, feel free to refresh your page. A few more links have been added. And if you ever come up with new resources that you think would be helpful to the group, let us know. We'll add them to the wiki. It's meant to be a resource for everyone.
Oh, Amy, you're muted.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I was looking at this earlier when I was preparing for this, and I found this is really great. This is a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
I wanted to point out in our last minute, and I can stay I can stay a few minutes late if you want, that, hold on, I've got a lot of stuff open. These are the funnels. So, if you work with art, etc., we have a lot of funnels with subject areas that are unique. The comics and fiction funnel is a relatively new funnel. There's the gender and sexuality, another new funnel. So for instance, if you're working with Jasmine on Judaica and Hebraica material, there might be a time when you have like a comic book, like Mouse or something, and you might want to contact that SACO coordinator. So that's something too. And let me give you my email. So you can email me whenever you want, and I will try to help. There might be times that, I don't have the answer, or, I might not respond right away, but I will do my best. Oh, and I should say also that all of us are we kind of do everything, but we also try to focus on a particular area. And my areas are like general, like A, which isn't very interesting. And literature, language, linguistics, philology, and religion and psychology. So broadly, those are my areas, but I share them with other policy specialists, so I'm not the only one working in those areas. But you can contact me for Judaism, and history is Melanie and Nancy, I think. But anyway, we have a lot of policy specialists working, so somebody will help you with your questions.
It's Amy, thank you. I want to really thank Amy very much for taking time to work with us, to talk us through the process. It's a big task, and understanding the process really, I think, helps maybe visualize where we start and where it ends. So Amy, thank you very, very much on behalf of the entire AJL community, and Judaica Catholics who are not part of it, for taking the time today as well. Notice this session has been recorded, and the recording should be available hopefully soon. All right, well, the recording is going to be available. This I'll put it on Hebnako, so we'll have that, and maybe we can actually put a link to it in the wiki as well. With that, let me wish everybody a wonderful rest of the day. Happy Chag Purim Sameach, happy Purim. And know that, you can always email Amy at 3:00 in the morning. Not that she'll respond, but it does work. So anyways, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Bye.
Amy, thank you. Okay.